Hello everybody, my name is Luke Lloyd and welcome to the Maths Assessment Review for Block 2. Now this is our quick marking video. The purpose of this video is just to really help you mark the assessment rapidly. That means I'm not going to be going through each of the questions in depth or in detail. Instead, we will save that for the Week 6 review lesson video that will be coming out next week that will mirror what goes on in the classroom, where each of our tutors will go through the assessment in detail, explaining how to do the challenging questions, what to look out for, and essentially doing model working for each of the question types. So if that's what you need, look out for that video. As I say, that'll be coming out from next week, and that'll be it'll be the Maths Assessment Review for Block 2, Week 6. But for now, let's jump straight into it. We're going to run through each section, 5 questions by 5 questions, and just go over the answers, and I might highlight a few things if they're quick. So this is the assessment paper. It should have taken approximately 50 minutes. Just very quickly, if you did only spend 50 minutes on this, but you weren't able to finish, it might actually be worth just spending the extra time looking through those remaining questions, perhaps a different coloured pen, so you still get the opportunity to complete these questions. Certainly, if I was in a centre and I had a student who didn't finish within 50 minutes, but there was an extra 10 minutes left before break, I might let them just work through so they get access to those questions. And I do think that's important. So I would advise that if anyone's not finished the assessment, actually pause the video here, quickly just go try all the questions, then come back and mark everything with me now. Right, so the answers. Place value. In which number is the digit a 1? It's in, of course, you have the units here. In which number is the one digit a 10? Well, that is in 312, making the 1 a 10. And then which number digit is 100? Well, in 123. So there are the answers as follows. Put these numbers in order with the smallest first. So 1796, 1976, 3182, 3218, and 3812 in that order. Next section, next 5 are as follows. So what's missing? 5,864. So the 4 is what was missing. Number 6, 9,573. So the 9,000 was missing. Number 7, 1,633. So 600 was missing. 3,941. So the 40 was missing for number 8. Number 9, it's 7,488. So the 400 was missing. And for number 10, it's 65,000. So that 60 is there, but we needed the 5,000 to complete the number, which is 65,239. Next section, writing it as words. So we would say 68, 543, 2,390, 5,643, and then 50,005. So next one is the number sequences section here. And for here, it goes 8, 19, 30, 41, 52, 63, and 74. And again, if we're looking at the difference each time, we're adding on 11. So then for number 17, it goes 31, 27, 23, 19, 15, 11, and 7, and that's minus 4 each time. We have 4.5, 7, 9.5, 12, 14.5, 17, 19.5. So next up we tried 2.5, but that's not what matters. Instead, what are we adding each time? Of course, the answer is we're adding 2.5 or 2.5, whichever you prefer. Then number 19, it goes 16, 25, 36, 49, 64, 81, 100. We're not adding on anything particular. These are a list of numbers you need to know, and these are all square numbers. Square as in the shape. So that's a special sequence. And here, number 20, we've got 2 sequences. We've got the one I'll underline in blue, which is increasing by 7, and the one that's underlined in red, which is increasing by 8. So essentially in red we've got the 8 times tables, and blue we're listing the 7 times tables. So there's actually 2 sequences that are alternating. That one I thought was worth explaining. So factors from the tree. So again, which of the factors of 12 would be 3, 4, 6, and 12? All the factors of 16 would be 4, 8, and 16. The factors of 15 are 3 and 5. And the factors of 36 are 3, 4, 6, and 12. Remember, not all of the factors, but all the factors in our cloud. So we're picking from the cloud. Remember, a factor is, they often come in pairs, but they're numbers you can multiply together to make the number. So for example, 1 times 12 is 12. So both 1 and 12 are factors of 12. 3 times 4 is 12. So 3 is a factor and 4 is a factor. Multiples next. So looking at these, multiply 9 by 9. That means what is 9 times 9? The answer is 81. What is 6 multiplied by 7? That's 42. What is the product of 8 and 7? Again, it means 8 times 7. That's 56. Find 6 sixes is another way of saying 6 times 6 equals what? The answer is 36. What are 7 nines? That means 7 times by 9, which is 63. And then finally, what is 6 times 9? 54. So these being multiples are all basically times tables and just different ways of asking those questions, disguising those questions. Going on now to addition. So you'll see here there's a place for workings. In terms of the kind of working I'd be expecting to see, well, it's probably column addition. So we set out 126 plus 45, for example. And of course, just a reminder that if in one of our exams, certainly you ever need more space, just doing it in a jotter, spare bit of paper, that's fine too. Since all these are 1 marks, I would want to see at least some working out in here because it says ask, or it does ask you to show workings. So even if you could do some of them in your head, I would certainly demonstrate at least once so you're able to use this method because that's obviously what the exam is after and wants you to do. So just a reminder, I'll do one just quickly before we go through them. So 6 plus 5 is 1 and carry 1. 2 plus 4 plus 1 is 7 plus 1. So there's your 171. So 31 was 171. 32 was 281. 33 was 296, 34 was 461, and 35 was 6,115. There's an example of the method. Again, we'll go through all of these in next week's video if you want to get the exact breakdown. So some worded questions, and these are worded questions that are essentially applying the same skill of addition. So how much do Charlotte and Sarah, well that's Charlotte plus Sarah, equals you 79.2. Akash and Charlotte would be 39, stay in this colour, so 39 plus 37.5, which is 36.5. And the total weight of all three would be 39 plus 37.5 plus 41.7. So again, that's just going through, adding them all together, and writing down your answer. So 118.2 kilograms. So Mum, Dad, Jamie and Daisy went to the zoo. It's Brentwood Zoo, and here are the prices. So how much did it cost for them all to go to the zoo? Well, there's 2 adults, Mum and Dad, so it's going to be £22.50 twice, one for each of them. And to that, we're going to add the cost of 2 children. So it's going to be £15.50 plus £15.50. And that totals 76. Next one then, how much did it cost for them to have a hot dog each? Well, hot dogs are £1.60. And there's 4 of them, so you could do £1.60 times 4, or you could add £1.60 4 times, whichever suits you best. And the answer to that is £6.40. Subtraction next, so subtract 14 from 40. So that's going to be 40, take away 14. Important, we should get the correct way around. And actually, sorry, let me just do that on this page. So this is where you see the answer, so that gives us 26. Then 2 numbers have a difference if you're trying to find the difference. So the difference between 58 and 47 is the answer. So the difference between 58 and 47 has a gap of 11, and it told you the bigger was 58, so you knew you were doing 58 take away 11. Here, what's missing number? Well, the way to do this is to do 205 plus 431. That will give you the number that you had to start with. Simon ran 1,250 meters on Monday and 5,725 on Wednesday. He wants to run 9,000 meters this week. How much has he got to run left, or how much further does he need to go? Well, this one is 9,000. Take away the distance he's already run. So take away 5,725, and then take away another 1,250. A couple ways of doing it. You might choose to add these two first, take them away, but essentially you're going to subtract this one, take away this, then take away this, and then your answer is 2025. A recipe uses 2,700 grams of flour. Victoria has 512 grams of flour in one bag, and okay, well, so how much more flour does she need? And very similar to the last one, we've got a total. That means take away 1,204. I always do the larger one first, and then to that, whatever that answer works out as, we'll take away another 512. And that will leave you the answer of 964. So again, we're doing it twice. And personally, I wouldn't actually set it out like this. I would do 1, and whatever that answer is, I'd write it up here and take it away again twice. So I'd split it up into 2 sums, 2 takeaways, 2 subtractions. Or I'd add them together first, which is an addition, then subtract that new total from the 2,700. Okay, so we saw the flour one. So we've got Jaswinder has a jug that holds 250 milliliters. He puts 1,012 milliliters of water. He adds 150 milliliters of juice. How much more liquid can you put in it? So again, similar question. I might as well show you the other way. So you could add these two together, which is the total amount he's added to the jug. And then to that, whatever the answer is, take away the total. So whatever this turns totals, you put that in there and do a subtraction. And then that will give you your answer. In this case is 1,338 milliliters left. 48, there are 243 jelly beans, 109 were taken out. How many are left? 134, that's a subtraction. There are 100 books on the top shelf, 40 on the bottom. I take 29 away, so 100 plus 40 is 140. Then 140 take away 29 is 111, so 111 books left. There are 752 people watching the swimming competition and 644 watching the long jump. How many fewer are watching the long jump? That's another way of saying, what is the difference? And whenever we see a difference question, we subtract the two values. We subtract them. And if you do that, you get 108. So here, last question. There are 36 children in the class. Half of them have packed lunch. 12 children have school dinners and the rest go home. How many children go home? Well, it's 36 in total. And half of them have packed lunch, so you're going to take away half of 36, which is 18. To that answer, you're then going to take away a further 12, because 12 have school dinners, and then the remainder, and if we actually add ahead, so I can do 18 and 12 is 30, so the remainder is going to be 6, go home. And again, it's whatever the answer to this one is what you'd put up there to subtract to get your answer for this, which is 6. Then down here, we could just got some division facts. So 81 divided by 9 is 9. And with these, you can actually sort of think of it a bit like multiplications, because 9 times 9 is 81. So 144 divided by 12 is 12. 56 divided by 7 is 8. 121 divided by 11 is 11. 24 divided by 6 equals 4. And 64 divided by 8 equals 8. Some nice questions to end on. Number 57, complete the division chart below. So essentially all we're doing is we're dividing these numbers. So 21 divided by 7 is 3. That's where the answer comes from. So it's a combination of the numbers above and below meeting into the middle, and then that middle dot is the answer. So 35 divided by 7 is 5. 7 divided by 7 is 1. 42 divided by 7 is 6. 84 divided by 7 is 12. 49 divided by 7 is 7. and 14 divided by 7 is 2. And in order to get the 1 mark, you need to get all of these correct, so please do mark it carefully. How many groups of 6 can be made from 54? That's another way of saying 54 divided by 6. And you're going to make 9 groups, so it would go in 9 times. Harbin has 72 stamps. She puts 9 of them on each page of a stamp album. How many pages will she fill? Well, 72 divided by 9 equals 8. Joy has a bag of 50 sweets. She shares all the sweets equally between 5 of her friends. How many sweets does each friend get? So 50 sweets divided by 5 friends is 50 divided by 5, which of course leaves us with 10. And finally, Ryan has 108 trophies. He puts 9 trophies on each shelf. How many shelves? Well, it's going to be 108 divided by 9. And 108 divided by 9 is 12. So you have an answer of 12. Doing brilliantly, guys. The end is really close now. So 62, circle the number that divides exactly into 272. So the numbers that go in are 4 and 8. And for these, you can use your divisibility rules, which we'll go through again. Fill in the following gaps. 237 rounded to the nearest 10 is 240. 237 rounded to the nearest 100 is 200. 382 to the nearest 10 is 380. 769 to the nearest 10 is 770. 769 rounded to the nearest 100 is 800. 1863 to the nearest 1000 will be 2000. 5216 to the nearest 1000 is 5000. And 7777 to the nearest 1000 is 8000. So there are your answers. Excuse me. So the following list, or here is a list of the numbers. Answering the following questions, only use those numbers. What are all the prime numbers? Between 10 and 20, well, we've got 11, 13, 17 and 19. That's because it's between 10 and 20. Is 1 a prime number? No. Common trick question. Really worth learning. The smallest prime number is also the only even prime number, which is 2. So the smallest prime number is 2, so 1 can't be prime. And that's because 1 only has one factor. If I was to list all the factors of 1, I would start and end there. Now, although you say 1 times 1, you only list distinct ones. And the rule is a prime number has to have 2 factors exactly, no more, no less. So, for example, the factors of 2 are 1 times 2 is 2. No matter which way around, that's all the numbers. Because there's 2 of them, and that's the definition of prime, 2 is prime. What's the next prime number after 20? It's not 21, it's not 22, but it is 23. And again, just simply going through in order and just thinking about it, can I find anything that divides by, is often the way to get there. Record the prime numbers between 1 and 10. So this is it. 2, that's what people forget. 3, 5, and 7. 9 is not prime because, of course, 3 goes into it. Meaning it has more than just one prime number in itself. And in fact, the helpful tip at the bottom I thought was very helpful today, because a prime number has only 2 factors, 1 and the number itself. And that is your definition of prime. So that was a really useful little tip down the bottom there. Now we've got some extension questions. These are sort of a variety, a bit of a mixed bag. See how well you've done. So, what's the sum of these two numbers? The sum, of course, means to add, not to times. So, add them together, you get 210. What's the difference? We know the difference means subtract. So 103 subtract 49 is 54. What's the product? We know product means times. So 11 times 12 is 132. What is the remainder when 45 is divided by 7? So you're going to have 45 divided by 7. You can do sort of a bust up if you want to. 7 goes into 4, nothing. 7 goes into 45 6 times. Remainder 3. So it's asking you what that remainder is. Add the two numbers. So for 85, the answer is 4,481. 86, what's the sum of the first 5 odd numbers? You go back to the list you had up here if you needed to. But again, we're just adding the first 5 odd numbers. Then we're subtracting some decimals. So just remember, it's really important that you line up your place values, but otherwise it should work the same way. For the multiplication of decimals, 88, there's a few methods for doing this. My, of course, favourite one is the grid method. I know I've taught a few people this one. So that's the grid nearly set up. All I've got left to do is to divide each of the boxes in half. And then just go through and fill it in. So 5 times 2 is 10. 9 times 2 is 18. 7 times 2 is 14. Then 7 times 1 is 7. 9 times 1 is 9. 5 times 1 is 5. And then we add up down these diagonal columns. So you have 5, 9, 1 plus 7 is 8, 8 plus 8 is 16, so carry the 1 right at the 6. Then 1 plus 4 plus 1 is 6, and just the 1 is 1. You read it from left to right. So 1, 6, 6, 9, 5. But what about the decimals? Well, here's the cool trick and why I like this method. We just follow the decimals to where they meet on a diagonal line. Then we follow that diagonal line down, and that's where the decimal goes. So between the two sixes. And if you look, there's our answer. I thought that was worth doing, just because I know that's something we don't see anywhere near as commonly. Round to the nearest thousand, that's 29,000. And the cube of 6 is 6 times 6 times 6, which equals 216 for question 90. Last page then. So complete the factor rainbow. So the factor rainbow is basically list the factor pairs. So 1 times 64 is 64. You'll have 2 times 32, 4 times 16, and 8 times 8. But remember I mentioned before, you don't list the same number twice. That's why 1 wasn't prime. So you only write the 8 in the middle just the once. And again, notice I worked out as pairs going towards the middle. That's by far the easiest way and prevents you from skipping any or missing any. Write the next term in the sequence. So 1, 3, 7, 15, 31. Then we've got 8, 4, 0, minus 4, minus 8. So that's losing 4 each time. For this one up here, you can see we've gone from 1 to 3 is plus 2. 3 to 4 is plus 8. 7 to 15 is plus 8, sorry. And 15 to 31 is going to be plus 16. So you'll notice the number we're adding on each time is doubling, so that's the pattern. So you're adding on twice as much each time. For number 98, it goes 31, 40, 49, 58, 67, then 76. So if we look, we've got plus 9, plus 9, plus 9, and 9, 9, and so on. So the next answer, of course, is 76. Remember, with the 9 times tables, you can often spot it because one number goes down by 1, the other number goes up by 1. So the 6 became a 7, the 7 became a 6. We then had 1, 1, 2, 2, 4, 7, 7, 4, 3. So with this one, again, if we go through, we're adding nothing, then we're adding 1, then we're adding 2, then we're adding 3, then we're adding 4, adding 5, adding 6. So this one was to add 7. So we're increasing the number we added on by 1 each time. And then finally, we have a toughy one to finish on. If you look here, the numbers, they're strange. They sort of go up by 4, then 2, then by 6. And that's because it's in the sequence. This is actually a list of special numbers. If you look, all of these numbers are prime. So what we're actually just doing is listing the prime numbers. And after 29, the next prime number is 31. So 100 was a bit of a toughy one to end on. Might have caught a few of you out. Right, everyone. So then mark your scores. Please make sure, of course, that A, you're comfortable. If you have any questions, you've starred them as you've gone through, ready to go through with your tutor on week 6, on lesson 6, the final one of the block. And again, if you miss, for whatever reason, that final lesson with your tutor, there'll be another video that I probably create for that final lesson, which again, just really goes through all these questions again, but in detail, writing out the working for them all and so on. I think that'll be the best way then. So you're welcome, of course, to watch that video as well. Brilliant, everyone. Thank you so much for your attention and for your attending. We really appreciate it. Have a wonderful week. We'll see you all again. Keep an eye out for the same video for the English. Bye bye.